Hey everybody, Bill Shaka here. Welcome to another edition of the 5-Minute Motivator. Welcome to Tamarindo, Costa Rica. It is an absolute pleasure to have you in my home. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, by the title of this particular post of getting dragged over the finish line, 4 ideas on how not to be a victim, I think this is an important topic to cover. One of the things that I hate about certain coaching situations is when I hear whining. Like, this wasn't my fault, or something like that, especially with that elongated last syllable fault attached to it. The fact is that a lot of things happen that aren't our fault. And then I hear things like, life just isn't fair. And, here's a question for you. Who the hell ever said life is fair? I mean, were you born with the fact that life is going to be fair? Sometimes stuff happens, and sometimes it's not the best stuff for us. Buddy Hackett was a comedian, did most of his best work back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and so forth. He tells an interesting story. He was in a synagogue, and he was praying every day. God, please, let me win the lottery. Let me win the lottery. Let me win the lottery. And one day, the roof of the synagogue opened up, and it was God. And God said to him, buddy, I'll let you win the lottery, but first you have to buy a ticket. You see? In other words, you can't get dragged over the finish line. You have to take some levels of action to be able to understand how not to get associated with victimization. So let's go over a couple ideas here on this notion of how not to be a victim. Here's the first thing I would suggest. Accept the inevitable. When things are going to happen, don't worry, don't whine, don't revile, just accept it. Look, I'm here in Costa Rica. Last year I had a ton of business in the United States that I needed to do. I had $80,000 worth of business dry up literally in 2 weeks because I couldn't get there. And my business was off 85% last year because I couldn't travel. I don't like that idea. I don't like it at all. But you know what? I have to accept it. You know why? Because it is what it is. Oh, I'm starting to sound Sicilian. It is what it is. But the fact is that is the way we have to approach things. Accept the inevitable. It ain't going to change. If worrying and whining and reviling would change that, believe me, this would be a 5-minute crying session instead of the 5-minute motivator. So, accept the inevitable. Understand this, ladies and gentlemen, that determination is internal. This is the second point. Determination is internal. Be aware of the fact when you're bending too much, be aware of the fact that you need to be determined. Determination is this voluntary action. It's a mental approach to saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, to be determined. You will know internally when you monitor determination whether you are being determined or not. Something else to consider. When you're looking to accomplish something, to avoid victimization, when one way doesn't work, try another. This happens in sales all the time. Okay? When a salesperson goes into a client and they don't click, they send another salesperson in. And sometimes they get the business and split the commission. Well, you know what? 50% is better than 0. So find a way to get it done if it's that important to you. If one way doesn't work, find another. If that doesn't work, find another. This is where determination comes in too. It's always trying to find ways to make sure that you are accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And the last point I'd like to make in the obliteration of victimization is this. Enthusiasm is a choice. You choose to be enthusiastic. Consequently, you'll choose also to be non-enthusiastic. It takes the same amount of energy to be enthusiastic as it does to be non-enthusiastic. Ladies and gentlemen, try enthusiasm. Make it a choice. Wake up in the morning and be enthusiastic. I used to have an 8.5 by 11 paper on my mirror. This is decades ago when I first started in this business. And it actually had 2 words on it, be enthusiastic. And it was right on my mirror as I was shaving during the day, I would look at it. It's a tremendous way to start the day. Okay, let me revamp these 4 issues to obliterate victimization. Number 1, accept the inevitable. Number 2, determination is internal. Number 3, when one way doesn't work, find another. Number 4, enthusiasm is a choice. Ladies and gentlemen, try putting these into practice. See what happens. And this is Bill Shaka, thanking you for attending yet another edition of the 5 Minute Motivator, and I look forward to seeing you again on the other side. Bye-bye.